Hello and welcome to Tony's Bonsai. Today I'm going to be talking about Japanese maples. Who doesn't love a Japanese maple bonsai? I know I do. And I've got a couple of quite interesting stories. The first of which is this Wilson's Pink Dwarf. And the reason this is interesting is I'd seen online that this is an excellent variety for bonsai. So I purchased it in the spring. It was quite expensive. It was listed as around £150, but it was on a special offer deal. I love a bargain, and it was coming in at about £60, I think. It was still quite a lot of money, I think, for a tree, but it's got a beautiful, delicate foliage. The colours in spring are absolutely phenomenal. The problem is, when it arrived, it was dying. It had a massive vine weevil infestation. The trunk was loose, and so I did a complete repot on it. If we just come in close, you can see these wires. I had to use all these cable ties just to add some support to the trunk because I removed almost all of the roots.
That was so that you could get rid of the vine weevil, was it?
Yep, yeah. Well, the vine weevils had to go, but also they'd eaten most of the roots anyway. Now, one of the bonuses is this has got the most stunning radial root flare now under there, because while I was doing it, I thought in for a penny, in for a pound, and I reduced it just to a small circle of radial roots round here. And so this is really set up well as a bonsai for the future. And it survived. That was the initial danger, was that it was going to die. What I did is, I took photographs, I contacted the nursery, and they actually sent me a replacement tree, because like I say, it was in all kinds of states. I'm going to move on to that tree a bit later and show you some other maples as well. But this tree has had a really healthy year. I fed it well, watered it well, you know, and obviously after I'd removed all of those roots, or the vine weevil had removed the roots, I thought it was prudent to remove quite a lot of the foliage on the top to balance the demands of the tree with the ability of the roots to supply water to that foliage. So that worked well, and you can see up in the canopy here where these cuts have been made. So I decided on a chop there on a relatively thick trunk. There's a chop here, up there, and these are cuts I probably wouldn't have normally made had I not felt it was absolutely necessary to compact this tree down. And it's got a really nice shape to it, this tree. I'm just going to rotate it round so that you're looking at what I consider to be the front. And look at that. Lovely movement. Got nice side branches coming off. So many options within this tree. And even though I was in a bit of a rush when I was removing these branches, I think I've put them in some quite good places. And that's now set up really at this time of year, which is now July. It's a good time for me to start reducing this down. And even though it had, you know, it struggled a little bit earlier on, it has had a really good growing year. So there's energy in that tree stored, which means that if I cut this back now, I'm quite confident come spring this is really going to push on strongly and give loads and loads of options. So at this point I'll be going in, removing any problems, overlapping branches, places where things just don't look right structurally, and then going in and just overall reducing it down a bit. So I'm going to step in now, do that work, and come back to you once this has had a bit of a prune. We've spent a few minutes pruning this now, me and my dad. It's nothing drastic. It was really just kind of compacting the upper canopy down a little bit, making a few decisions to try to improve the structure for the future. And it's just these small steps that we take, you know, cumulatively over the years, they add up into producing something nice. Now, the second stage is introducing the freebie. Obviously, I sent the company some photographs of the roots of this tree that were absolutely full of vine weevil. And what they did is they sent me a free replacement tree, because they agreed with me that it was looking pretty dead. So this is the one they sent me. Again, I didn't select it because it was just online, and what I got was this lovely twin trunk. I love the greens and almost that bronze colour on the trunk there. Beautiful. Now this didn't have any vine weevil, but I did repot it into bonsai soil and just do some basic, I barely did any pruning on it actually, looking at it. However, it's had a good year, and now's time to go in, and if I just show sort of the upper canopy up there, now's the time to go in and do similar kind of pruning work that I've just done on that first tree, just to compact the foliage back. We're all pruned up now on this tree. This is the twin trunk, and it's not one of those dramatic bonsai transformations, this. It's just trying to develop that structure quite upright, as you can see, lots of upright growth.
What's the colour like on this one? Wilson pink.
Should be absolutely gorgeous. In the spring, it's like a deep, vivid, pinky salmon colour. I would say it's the best of any Japanese maple, which is the reason that I wanted this tree. A Shinda Shoujo can give it a run for its money perhaps, but this is right up there. And yeah, it's quite a graceful tall tree and looking good. So what I'm going to do now is go through a few different species of Japanese maples, just to show you some of the colours that are beginning to develop. So we'll start off with
Phoenix.
a phoenix. Now, I picked this up cheap, basically. It didn't cost me a lot. I wouldn't have bought it specifically, but apparently the colour is really good in the springtime. I have seen the colour in spring, and it was not bad, but I think possibly because of the winter it wasn't what it could have been. But coming into autumn now, there's some nice reds in there. Definitely an interesting tree, and it's got a nice small leaf, so a good tree for bonsai, that. Right, next up we've got this one. This is called the Little Princess. These are gorgeous in the summer. They've got like a green leaf, and around the edges of the leaf you get like a red colour just forming around the edges, and then as you go into autumn they turn this kind of lovely sort of almost burgundy colour. So yeah, very nice. I recommend the Little Princess. Right, what's next?
Anik.
Right, this one is new to me. I bought this online, and it's called Acer Anik, as in the castle, Anik Castle in the north of England. And if you just look here, just stop there, did I say? Look at that lovely green under there, under that leaf. That's it there. They've got a gorgeous kind of lovely greeny, yellowy, greeny colour, and then they turn to this beautiful kind of orangey, bronzy type colour, really. Not a small leaf, so not perfect for bonsai, but definitely a tree worth owning just for the colour. Now this one is going green. Beautiful in the spring, a very, very vivid beautiful green colour, and then in the autumn they go this lovely red colour again. And that's one of my favourites, that going green. In the UK you can pick these up from the supermarket really quite cheaply in the spring as well. They sell them for just £2 or £3. You can pick something like that up for, so definitely one worth having. Now this is one, what's that one?
Kiyohime.
Now this is a classic bonsai Japanese maple called a Kiyohime, or some people call it a Kitohime. It's got a nice small leaf at this time of year. I'm just going to let that plane pass over.
Has it been grafted?
This is a grafted tree. Look at that. Yeah, just slowly rotate that round there. That's a nasty graft. That's not a good graft really, that.
Is that something you could trim off later and smooth it down?
To a certain extent you can trim that back, but the reality is it's going to be a very healthy tree being on good rooted stock like that. And this was one that I got to plant out into the ground to grow as stock, to air layer from, to take cuttings from. That was the plan, because it is, you know, it is so good for bonsai. So that's a nice one to go in at the bottom of your garden, Dad, that.
Oh yeah.
It'll sit nicely with the others.
Oh, lovely.
That's the seed. Oh, going into the seeds, yeah.
Yes. Yeah, we'll have a change.
Yep. Now, this is a seed that I grew. There we go, I'm good. Yep, I've had some good success this year growing Japanese maples from seed. And this is an Arakawa. So, they definitely work from seed if you get it right. And if we switch that for the other seeds, my preferred method for propagating Japanese maples from seed is just to plant them out in late November. I just plant them in a nice tray of bonsai soil, cover them with a very thin coating on the top, and they seem to do okay. Now, there was a video where I actually showed me planting these, and these are all gifts from Jason Hanrahan of the Bonsai Garden. What he does is he goes around collecting Japanese maple seeds from arboretums and all over the country. He picks the seeds up and he sent me a bag with a load of mixed varieties in, so I've no idea what they are, but quite a few of them have grown. They're on the way. It's just a great way of acquiring interesting new varieties, because, you know, you don't know what they are, but look at that, how gorgeous is that orange on that? Beautiful. So yeah, that's well worth doing that. Right, here's the classic Orange Dream, and I've talked in the past about the difference between Orange Dream and Katsura. It took me a while to work it out, but basically Orange Dream tends to have more lobes on it. So the Katsura tends to be sort of 5 or 7 lobes, whereas the Orange Dream tends to have more. You can get 9, you can get 7. It's not an exact science because they both have different amounts, but the colours, I weighed them up in the spring. I would say that Orange Dream is superior to the Katsura in terms of colour. This is like a gorgeous pinky colour.
So these 7 lobes would go well with 2 fish.
Oh, don't go religious on us now. Yeah, and you can see here, look at these leaves there. Look how gorgeous they are. Absolutely stunning, with that red edge surrounding the green. Again, a bit like the going green, you can pick these up in the UK really cheap. It's amazing. They almost give them away in the supermarkets. Great material.
And this is one that I know what this is.
Yep.
It's a red flamingo.
Oh,
It's,
it is. I thought I was dealing with you for a second there, Dad. I didn't realise I was speaking to Monty Don.
Oh wow.
One who can read as well. This is a red flamingo. I picked this up in the bargain basement section of a garden centre. They were giving it away. I presume no one really wanted it. So I thought, looks interesting. And apparently it's for these, just leave it there, Dad. Look at these red stalks. Look how bright and vivid they are. That's what it's prized for. And imagine that when it's a bit more of an established tree, larger, more red shoots. That'll be something to really, really appreciate. So, probably not for bonsai. Well, not for bonsai, because look at the leaves. They're big. They don't have that delicate nature of the Japanese maple. However, I just love plants like this, just for being different and looking amazing, really. Right, what we got next? Now,
Last one is the.
here's a tree that I bought. I bought this in the spring, and it was following reading a discussion on Facebook, and people were talking about which is the most pink leaved of all the Japanese maples, and the general consensus was it was this one, which is called
Taylor.
I don't know. Oh yeah, called Taylor. It is. It says on that thing. Yeah, it's right. This is called a Taylor. Now, I didn't really get to see it in its full spring glory because I bought it after then. Some kids are going mental in the background. But yeah, so I've not yet seen this in the spring, but apparently it's the pinkest of them all. So that's something to look forward to seeing. And even now at this time of year, you can see the sort of green is dying away. And we're getting quite a subtle pink, a bit like a Ugi Kumo. Lovely.
This is the last one.
Yeah, always like to show the Shinda Shoujo for absolute vibrancy of colour in spring. Really takes some beating. It's up there with Wilson's Pink Dwarf, this one. Definitely more vivid and brighter than a standard de Shoujo. And at this time of year, I love this deep colour that it goes. This kind of deeper, rusty red colour, like an iron oxide. Beautiful stuff. That was just a few different varieties of Japanese maples that I thought you might be interested in looking at. A lot of them are best in the spring, but I love them in the autumn. And I thought I'd finish the video just with a quick shot of some of my trees that I planted in the ground. So as we work our way along here, you can see we've got a range. The green ones in the centre there are called Butterfly. They're quite interesting. There we go. As you go forward there, that's a butterfly. And then to the right, you've got the classic Atropurpureum. That lovely red colour. And I think they're kind of looking at the best this kind of year because they're not too burgundy. They've almost got a bit of warmth to them, which is nice.
They're a lovely colour, aren't they, those?
Very nice, yeah. And if you can just see down there, Dad, just the colour in that little one down there. Look at the colour of that.
It's in the shade there as well.
No, down, lower down there. To your right.
Oh, that one.
Yeah, look at that.
Oh my word.
It's a bit nice, that one, isn't it?
Oh, I missed that one. That is orange.
Yeah. Yeah, that's gorgeous, that.
That's not an orange dream, is it?
No, that's not an orange. I'm not exactly sure what that one is, if I'm... I'm just not sure. But it looks good. That's it. Yeah. Okay, that's the end of this video. I love showing Japanese maples. They're just such a gorgeous plant, and if you've not got any, you've got to get yourself some Japanese maples. They're just so beautiful all through the year. I'll leave it on that. As always, thanks for joining me. Have a great day, and I'll see you soon.